Yo, what's up, everyone? It is me, Ebony. Welcome to Walk in 90. Yogi cannot be here, so now I am the captain now. I'm taking over hosting duties. You're welcome. He'll be back to derail a podcast next week for the championship. Uh, let's introduce everybody here that you normally see right below me. Chip, say hello. League Plant.
Yo, I don't know why I still have that up there. I need to take that down.
You might as well just keep it there.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. And then right beside him is Mr. Kyle Carr. Sad, always. I'm so sorry about your loss, but we predicted it.
You know what? I didn't predict that, so
You were
the
the only
score
one.
was not as bad as it was, but no, it is a bummer. It was a bummer, score wise.
We're going to talk about that game because there was some very questionable calls I have questions about, but it still was an accurate display of both teams. And two people joining us today from the highly esteemed show League One on the Rocks. Rich and Brian, how are you both?
Good. Thanks for having us. This is fun.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you for joining us for a very fun but stressful week for two teams. But let's hop right into it. Let's start with some league news. The biggest shock to everyone, John Harkes is leaving Greenville in December. Ooh. We've been trying to push him out of that role for like 2 years now.
True, yeah.
I think that the shocking thing isn't necessarily that he left. It's been something where people have speculated that he's going to go on to something else for a long time. It's the fact that it's not like John Harkes is leaving Greenville and moving on to DC United or something. It's just like, I'm out. I'm going to not coach. It's like Jay Mims, where after he announced, everyone was like, okay, yeah, it's not shocking that he's leaving, but like, where is he going? Because there's like no open jobs. I think like the only open job was Tulsa. So we're like, oh, he's going to Tulsa, and then just didn't go anywhere. And it's like, well, that's weird. And that seems like what we're heading for too. But in 2 weeks, maybe we'll hear he's going to DC or
is DC open?
Yep.
Oh, I forgot.
Wayne Rooney left and went to Birmingham City.
Yeah.
And then started winning at Birmingham. Yeah. Well,
it hasn't been the best start, but yeah, I think DC United is open. Revs are also open.
Yep.
I was told Toronto already has a coach.
Yeah, they already filled that
Isn't his
one.
kid at Revs?
See, that's what I thought too. I thought that was gonna be his next stop
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be very interesting if he doesn't go anywhere, but if he goes somewhere else, it'll be kind of be like, yeah, I'm not shocked that he's gone. More shocked that it took so long to happen.
I feel like he knows where he's going. He's just taking a little time to be with family before he says, "Hey, I am heading up 95 and I'm going blank." So it'll be a fun little thing. Where can we push John Harkes to next? Well, no, the DC agenda is still on. The DC agenda is still on. Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Maltese Premier League.
Look, let's not rule it out, okay? There's still some very good open spots over there.
Was that Pilato? Who was that from Greenville that we're all like, oh, he's going to championship, then he ends up in like Malta, and it's like, what?
Lomas.
Yeah.
Lomas, yeah.
I forgot about Lomas.
I know you did.
Yeah. They're reuniting in Malta.
Jesus. That's a name I have not heard in a long time. Nacho Novo is leaving Lexington after his interim time. What was it, like 4 games? 6 games?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I love me some Novo. He came into our league and kind of shook it up a little bit when we were still in championship. So I hope he lands somewhere pretty good. Can't really say if his coaching skills are good or not because he didn't really get a chance to do much. They scored a lot of goals, which is what he aims to do. So
I was going to say, I think there's potential for him to land somewhere. He didn't embarrass himself. It's not like he was having a poor showing while he was in charge at Lexington. So I'm sure he'll get something, maybe in like League 2 potentially, or if another League 1 role opens up.
There's 5 League 1 openings right now for goodness
Yeah.
sake.
Mhm.
For now.
Wow.
There could be more. That would be crazy if like half the league turned over coaches this year, which
That would be the most since I'm pretty sure like maybe 2020 might be.
What
out
are the
of here.
5? So Greenville, Lexington,
Greenville, Lexington,
Fuego.
Fuego, Spokane, and Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
I forget about Santa Barbara because they came onto the scene hot. They're like, we're going to do it the right way, and then we just haven't heard from them since.
Yeah,
So
they just ghosted.
yeah. Speaking of Spokane Velocity is now adding investors.
Yeah,
What does
they
that mean?
added. Well, I was going to say I think it's just people that are going to have partial ownership or something like that. But it was an impressive list. It was like a lot of former athletes. I'm going to pull up the list, but yeah, it's just like an investment group. There is Dahani Jones, who was a football player, Triana Allen, who played basketball at Gonzaga, and like in the early 2000s, it was all conference. Josh Childress has a company, Landspire, that he and someone else started. So Trey Flowers, and then I think there was one other person, and I think it was like an entrepreneur who played football at like Notre Dame, Northwestern. So it's a couple of athletes that are investing in it, but it's still kind of cool to see, especially some of them that are, a lot of them are local, or like Gonzaga standouts.
That's going to be an interesting one. Just because, what does it mean by investor? Like, are they investing just their fame and notoriety, or are they investing a lot of money? And where does that money go? Like, are you putting it towards players? Are you putting it towards infrastructure? Are you helping them build a stadium? What are we doing with that money?
Yeah, I feel like
all the
I kind of wonder if for the women's team it might be money, while for the men, I don't know. Like it could just be like for the women's team, because it seems like when they were talking to some of the players, they really highlighted how women's sports wasn't a trend and it's been underinvested. So maybe for like the women's team, it's going to be more on the money front, while the men could be a little bit of both, or at the very least the notoriety.
Huh. We'll see how it comes along. Some new news. Is that Texoma? Is that how we're pronouncing that? Texoma is joining the league in 2025.
It's a made up name. It's like, well, because it's weird too. Because at least like what's the one, Texarkana? At least like that city's in Arkansas and Texas, so it makes sense that we call it Texarkana. This is not in Oklahoma. It's like in Dallas.
Yeah, it's just like adjacent.
Okay, I was very confused. I was like, is this a city? Does Texas and Oklahoma meet? And this is a city right there? And I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, at first I was just like, oh, it's just like, I figured it was a region. I was like, oh, maybe it's like a particular, kind of like a city or just like a region. I was like, I typed in Texoma and it's just like, yeah, it's this thing that exists. I was like, does it though? Does anyone actually call it that?
And it's not like it's in like Amarillo or something either, where it's like actual like North Texas. It's like in Dallas.
Like
it's not close enough that they can use Dallas. No, it's like
north. But apparently there's a bunch of new development going up there. It's 300-some thousand people in like the county or something. So it's decently sized. But
are all 300K coming out for the games?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Fuck it.
I feel confident.
Over on Discord today, that was my big comment, was with all the oil money in like Midland, why isn't there a team in like Midland and there's a team in like random ass, not necessarily northern Texas?
There's plenty of money in Sherman though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Fuck
but
it.
Should be
money laundering is the name of our game.
Yeah. And it's not the Midwest, but it's now Omaha's third closest away day.
Oh geez, yeah.
It's like nine hours and some change if you're slow.
All I'm saying is I can make a flight from Madison to Dallas and then make a drive up. You know what? That's probably the best. Honestly, though.
3 hours to work, I would quit that job.
Yeah.
But it's also like the Antelope Valley where they're like, oh, it's coming to Antelope Valley. And it's like, What the hell is Antelope? What is
Stop
Antelope
it.
That's what I
Valley?
said in their chat. I was like, we just need to start saying the cities. Like, say Lancaster, California. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can look it up. Like, we're just making things up now.
Well, and it's not like it's like the Hudson Valley or like the Willamette Valley or like valleys people, Death Valley. It's like not valleys people know. It's these like random ones. It's like, yeah, it's coming to Antelope Creek Holler, and it's like, what is that? Like,
This is why I respect Northwest Arkansas. They're like, it's going to be Northwest Arkansas. Where? We don't know the city, but we will tell you the general vicinity, and it's very straightforward.
well, but it's like with NOCO, where at the beginning of it, it's like, we'll just call it Fort Collins, and then it's like, oh, it's not in Fort Collins. It's in the middle of scrubland.
Yeah, it's definitely not Fort Collins. Like if they had said Fort Collins, I would have been like, no, this is not. This is a 30-minute drive from it. This is not that close.
Like, I'm trying to think from Greeley, which is pretty close. I don't even think you can see the mountains.
You know, I probably should have.
Really, you could, but I could be wrong on that.
You know, if I was in a more sober state, I may have tried that, but
Yeah, because
I
it's
cannot
like
confirm or deny that.
people are always like, it's really boring driving through Nebraska on I-80 because all you see is corn, which, you know, fair, but at least there's something. Because when you get to that chunk of Colorado between the Nebraska border and Denver, there's just nothing.
All I'm going to say, you can definitely see the mountains like out to the west when you're driving on I-25, like heading from Denver to Fort Collins. You could see the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, so first of all, Northwest Arkansas, if they have Walmart sponsor, I would love them forever because it'd be the funniest shit. I need to see
Literal Walmart fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need it. I would
Just
buy
a
that
parade of
jersey.
those scooters coming into the stadium before kickoff.
Yeah, the big rollback smiley face kit sponsor.
Oh, give me that smiley face back. I would buy that all day. Just put it straight.
Put it on layaway.
Oh my god. Imagine like the the Minnesota United with the giant target circle. Just make it
Yes.
that big yellow. The jersey's like god awful blue and that big ass yellow circle. I'd buy it today.
Well, it's built-in banter too, because they're gonna get so much shit talked on them for having like the Walmart sponsor.
I don't
And
even
I'd be
what's
like,
Walmart
They pay me all
slogan?
this money. I'd make them a sponsor too. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't talk shit. Well, we're not gonna play them because they're gonna be in championship. But if I was in championship, I'd talk a lot of shit.
There's always the Open Cup. You never know.
Yeah.
Everyone else around the
Yeah.
stadium is paying $80 for a jersey. They're paying like 20.
And it's actually the off-brand. It's the off-brand of their own kit sold inside.
Like, what was it called? It's like Husky Boy or something. It's like their house.
They put them on Hanes.
I'm just wondering if they play during Black Friday, are they gonna have like the security guards like stand at the door to make sure like no one steamrolls in? Or
If they are smart, yes. If they lean into the bit, yes. Do it the Las Vegas, whatever they're called now, thing way.
Yeah.
Lean into it hard. They're gonna drop down a league as well, but it's whatever.
they should. I think they're fine just losing out on money in championship, and they're just good with that.
Well, I guess that's the other thing that we can talk about real quick is Rio Grande Valley. There's been some scuttlebutt online that their owner doesn't want to pay for the team anymore. But does that mean they're going to fold, or does that mean they're going to come down to League One, or what's going to happen there? Because it's in the middle of goddamn nowhere. But that's another team.
That's another team that would probably be, but it sounds like it's just the owner in general just does that. It sounds like a Lansing Ignite situation where it's not necessarily candidate. It's just the owner just does not give a shit anymore.
Yeah. And
So,
even if the team
I feel like unless they
folds-
get new owners, it's probably going to be either they fold or they get new owners, and then what the owners do after that, who knows?
Yeah, but at least then they have the stadium done. So that's the big thing, I think, is even if they do fold, it's like, well, they're probably coming back in some other form or function eventually, just because there's a giant unoccupied stadium that's going to become like the city's liability. Because you have to do something with it. You just can't let it just sit there.
Somebody will fill it for sure.
Right.
They'll make it a football field, and there you go.
And finally, in the last of league news, Fort Wayne is got a stadium.
They got a plan.
I mean, yeah.
There is a
Look-
plan for like their downtown area, and that plan includes a 5,000 seat stadium. So
Oh, you can't go to championship with that. So they're
5,000's the bare minimum. So again, do they call it Iowa? It's Des Moines FC. Des Moines is building a 5,000 person stadium, so it's like the smallest you can be for D2.
which I don't understand if they're going to make that like your maximum capacity, then just go to League One.
Yeah. If you're not gonna I don't see how you can have that as your base. That feels very, very small, and that feels very, very limiting to your fans.
It sends the wrong message to the fans too.
Well, yeah, especially with how well attended their games actually are. Anyway, they're one of the better attended League Two teams. So I don't know, just very limiting for sure.
Yeah.
But I think
don't
that's
like
one of those things too, where it's a lot different getting people to come out for 8 games where the tickets are like $5 versus the cheapest seat. I think that like the cheapest seat in the league right now is Independence at $10, which is crazy. But like for actual teams, it's like 15 to 20 for like GA supporters tickets.
Yeah.
No, our GA was 5, but around the stadium was like 8 or 10. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like my season tickets went from 100 to 150 for the season for next year. Like whatever.
Yeah, it's just like
That'd be nice.
Even going up
God, I would
to
love that.
That's it.
That'd be great.
Wow.
yeah. I don't know, Brian. You're the ticket guy. How much did it was like a pretty modest increase this year for Omaha tickets, right?
Yeah, for my seats last year, they were, I want to say $480 for the season. They're at $501 for
Yeah.
next season.
I wish all of the inflation around the country was that low.
And I mean, granted, those are for midline seats, so I don't remember what
Oh, yeah.
like berm seats are, but
Yeah, my 19 section 119, it's like 321 or something, or 319, and I think it was like 309 last year. So
Yeah, I don't remember how much. I know the flock end has not increased. I know that for sure. Going into next year, I just don't remember how much it was. So I was just like,
Yeah.
you have my card on file, just charge it. I'll see you next year.
which in fairness,
Yeah.
your guys' season tickets are weird because you get so many like freebies attached to it.
There's a lot of added perks to it, which is pretty good. Like,
Because people always freak out when they see the price and they're like, they're charging how much? Like, well, but they get like a free jersey and all these discounts.
you get
all this other
discount. You get
stuff,
discount
like-
in the team store. I mean, that right
Yeah.
there makes up the money. You get like a $25 like gift card for food and concessions, which is basically 2 beers, but 2 or 3 beers, depending on how large you get. If you're getting the 32 ouncer, maybe 2.
But
Which
you
is
guys
really
also do
like
happy
6
hour,
beers.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, get a 32 ounce of Modelo, and I'm set for the game. You don't have to buy another beer after that. It's kind of nice.
Well, that's like always like the dumb argument about like Omaha's beer prices where people are like, it's $11 for a beer. It's like, well, but they're 24-ounce beers, so it's really like
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
$4.50. It's really like $4.50 a beer.
Yeah.
Which is like, like if you can find a bar for Modelo that's $4.50 a beer, like you're doing pretty good. Like I think
Yeah.
the cheapest beer,
a
that
non-dive bar. Let's go
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
the cheapest beer I bought in like an actual bar is the Watch Party bar for Omaha, where I think High Lifes are like $3.50 or $3.75. But it's also High Life, so it's like it's very cheap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If you're buying more than 1 or 2 beers inside the stadium anyway, you're probably just doing it wrong.
Yeah, honestly. I'm gonna go buy a full rack and have fun in the parking lot
Exactly.
for the same price. All right, let's get into it because we had some really fun and interesting games happen in the quarterfinal. Let's start right here in North Carolina. Charlotte beat Greenville 3-2. It wasn't just a normal 3-2 game. The score doesn't reflect how much pressure Charlotte put on Greenville from like minute 30 to minute 90. it was very much one-sided the whole way through. So let me ask you this. Where do you see the biggest problem going into next season for Greenville, and what is the biggest problem you see for Charlotte going up against Omaha?
Well, I think with Greenville, it's, an identity thing. I mean, they're going to be losing Harks, who is a defensive-minded coach, and that's kind of been their identity since the league started. So you're going to be going through and not knowing what the next coach's philosophies are going to be. You don't know if that team needs to be retooled to support a more offensive style, or if you're going to bring somebody in that plays the exact same way.
And not to mention how many of those guys played for Greenville because Harks was the coach. I think that's the big thing, is because of the name and because of his style. Like, he got a lot of guys coming down from championship for the end of their careers, guys that stayed there maybe longer than they would have normally stayed there. Like, they've had a lot of guys that have been there for all 5 years.
Yep.
Because, and so I just think that'll be interesting to see kind of what happens with those guys, if they stick around for the new regime or what happens. And, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for Greenville, who's definitely like not reached the same heights as the first 3 years, to maybe get like a real slam dunk coach and all of a sudden have a new life to their program, which would be good too.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, we saw it with Omaha, like maybe getting another coach could pay dividends as well. I mean, we were all wondering what is Omaha going to do once Jay Mims left, and it took a while, but once they started clicking, it's like, all right, maybe this might be a team that could be better than the 2021 team. We're not fully sure yet, but with how impressive they looked, I mean, that could be the same thing with Greenville. It's like maybe just a different set of eyes could be what's needed. And I mean, it could work out like the way it did with Omaha, or it can end up how it was with Chattanooga, where they had a certain style, that style was gone and they didn't properly replace it. So I don't know. I think overall, I think getting more athletic in the midfield is probably the biggest thing for them, because I think that's where they really got caught out this year as opposed to years past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you're a Greenville fan and you're going to the matches because you like watching all those veteran players who you have come to know and love year in and year out, if they bring in a coach who is not from the Greenville umbrella, you might get a little nervous. Whereas if they keep somebody within, that Greenville community, they're probably going to keep some of those veterans. But like all of you have mentioned, there's going to be a whole different mindset to next season and the approach to tactics and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be interesting to see.
All I know is if I was a USL League One team, I would be calling Brandon Fricky right now, blowing up his phone, and be like, "Hey,
are we tampering in League One? Is this what this is?
We've been doing it since all summer with Fuego with Cerritos, so
Fricky, come home, baby."
So,
well, I know for sure that there are teams contacting Omaha players saying, "Hey, contract's up. Want to come to Scenic wherever?" And it's like, let's
Scenic wherever in League One. There's no scenes anywhere.
Well, this particular place is not Scenic, so that's.
I was gonna say, like, I don't even know what the most scenic. Maybe NOCO. Like, if you focus just on Fort Collins, maybe NOCO's the most scenic.
Well, Santa Barbara.
Well,
okay. They are pretty scenic.
I guess Portland's pretty. I mean, I assume Portland's scenic.
It
depends on where it's at.
Yeah, but I mean, scenic Omaha, Nebraska, out in the cornfield.
Look, if they like lakes, I mean, Madison's a good place for you. If you want lakes, there's
True.
2 big old lakes right there.
Yeah.
If you like green, I don't know, Carrie's good. Fuck it. So for all of us that watched that game, we witnessed some very interesting scoring, because I can't say there was a lot of defending. Greenville couldn't break into the half of the field to even attempt to test their defense, except for twice, and in those 2 times they scored. And they were just getting pushed like constantly for like a better 60 minutes by Charlotte. What do you think of? Well, I know in the past I've said like they don't defend. There's no defending there. They're just gonna keep trying to shoot and shoot and shoot because their philosophy is you score 3, we score 4 for Charlotte, and it worked this time. But as we just saw, 2 weeks before the final game of the season, Omaha and Charlotte, that was 4-0?
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
Okay. What's gonna bend first?
Charlotte.
Okay.
Well, and the thing is, how Greenville got their first goal was a very Charlotte defending-esque goal, where they put the pass in. The Charlotte defender tries going all in to intercept the pass, completely misses, which allows Gavilanis to just go in and do what he did. Like, it was very much a high risk, high reward. And when it works, it looks like a great awareness play. And when it fails, you look like you are in an island. Look like you just got cooked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Charlotte
taking nothing away
used-
from the goal as well. But it was one of those where the defender just ran right past.
Yeah, Charlotte used the dimensions of their field to their advantage. They were using those passing lanes time and time again, putting pressure on Greenville's defense. And Brian and I have talked about how the Charlotte players combine really well as they move up the field. And if you give them space as well as the opportunity to combine with each other, that's just a really tough mix to try to defend.
Yeah. But playing at Omaha, obviously, one of the smallest pitches in the league, if not the smallest pitch in the league, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, it's like going from a standard boxing ring to the Russian style where they fight in like a telephone booth. It's going to be a totally different style of play.
How you know that, I don't know, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for Russian boxing.
Rich has a gambling problem, and there's not a lot on at 2 a.m.
Look, some people watch A-League soccer, some people watch Russian boxing at the phone booth. It's fine.
Russian barbed wire fence boxing.
Perfect. It's right up our alley for watching League One Russian boxing. Hand in hand.
That should be the off-season activity we do.
Says who?
Pass on that one.
Be a great team bonding activity.
Okay. So Russian boxing. All right.
Yeah, it's a thing now, like content creator boxing. Just get everybody in League One doing it now.
I'll commentate. I'm not boxing. I'm not letting myself get hit in the head.
I'm too pretty for that.
I can't do it. So I guess let's go into the other game, Norco versus Madison. That ended 4-1. Let's talk about it because I have some questions about some of the calls that were made. It could have been 3-1. So we're still going to give the win to Norco. But that first goal, I'm a little skeptical about. Because I don't know if it should have been a red card for the keeper or a red card for the player.
It was
Both of them a red card. Max
Oh,
Chaos.
just give both.
Yeah, why not?
It was weird seeing that because from the angle that we were, because we were at the corner closest to that goal, it looked as though it was just the players collided. And normally when stuff like that happens, you give preference to the goalie.
But the goalie was outside the box.
But
And he was
that's the
trying,
thing.
and he was actually literally trying to punch the ball away outside the box.
Yeah, he was trying to like punch/kick it. And that was the thing. From where I was standing, I couldn't tell that it was outside the box, like where, because it was like right at the top. So it kind of looked like, okay, maybe this is in the box, maybe it's right outside. I couldn't tell. But it was one of those where I was like, normally you give that to the goalie. And then when he got the yellow, that was the part that I was more confused about because I was just like, I don't get how that's a yellow. Like, I feel like you either, most of the times, that's a dogzo and you give it a red, or you just say it's a foul, or you just let it happen.
They chose
But-
to let it happen, but
He chose to let it happen, and Amon did what he always does and score. And it was really shitty because it was right before halftime. So it's like, okay, we're feeling good. You're holding. You didn't give him that many chances, and then there's kind of a gift right there. And that was kind of the theme of the game.
Yeah, I thought the goalkeeper was going to get the card instead of the player.
And he did
Because
get a
he helped-
yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah. But because he was outside of the box, I felt like his focus was more on the player too, rather than the player looked like he was more concentrated on the ball. And so I felt like the goalkeeper was going to get the disciplinary action or the heavy end of it in that situation.
I felt like it was like once he came outside the box, it kind of felt like a dangerous play from the Noko player, just because of the way he came in, like full body. So I was like, oh, maybe they are going to give it, but I could see why if they had said either one, I would be like, I don't like it, but I get it, type of thing.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest. Ooh, that's not a good call. Like if they had let it go and no one got a card, I'd feel a little bit better. But
It even seemed like in the moment when the ref blew the whistle, he blew the whistle and you could see the gears turning in his head like, oh shit, what do I do now?
yeah, that was the crazy part. I was like, I couldn't tell if there was multiple whistles before the goal was scored or if it came after the goal, just because there was just a lot of noise all around the stadium and you couldn't really hear anything on broadcast. Couldn't really hear anything on broadcast anyway because they didn't even start the sound on time. But
True.
whatever. But yeah, that was just a whole mess, and I don't know how they decided goal versus not goal, and it took a little bit of time. Like there was a lot of not moving for like 3 minutes, and no one saying anything. Announcers trying to fill a void that we didn't ask them to do. It was just weird. So other than that, all the other goals, that's a good no-go team.
Yeah. Second goal was just, that's just a really fucking good Olympico. And okay. It was kind of one where it was damned if Byrne gets it and damned if he didn't because it was going in. So that's unfortunate. Third goal, you're chasing an equalizer, shitty giveaway. Okay. Fourth goal, still trying to chase, and Amon times his run perfectly.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Noko definitely was the team that deserved to go, but it wasn't as though Ford Madison was completely played off the pitch. It was they made a lot of bad moments that they got punished for.
Yeah, there was a lot of
a team that
unlucky
talented, you can't do that
things.
to.
Madison did look better in the second half though. Especially
That
coming
Cheney
out of
goal was really good. Yeah, I really
Oh,
liked
that was
it.
a beautiful cross.
Yeah. I just wish that there was a couple of more of those brilliant moments. Like you have the team to have like 2 or 3 of those brilliant moments and you just didn't capitalize on them, but they capitalized on them for you. Like they took the most out of every opportunity. It was just it was a very coasting game, but there was still moments of brilliance where you're like, okay, this team, like, they're going to do something next year. Hopefully, if they can keep their core around. Now with Cheney's cryptic goodbye, well, it's not very cryptic. It was very much a
Pretty
bye.
straightforward. And then
Yeah.
another guy, there's another guy today that made it sound like he was leaving too.
Well, Stephen Payne had one, but he went to Europe. He's just going on a nice trip. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. He's gonna see his sister. It's great. It's fine.
He'll be back. Just keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, I mean, I got his
He just-
Henny Derby shirt to give him, so he gotta come back.
It's a milk thing. He just went to go get milk. It's okay.
It's like just like Edwin chose the World Cup.
We're all bringing back milk. I brought back 2%. We're good.
Okay, but also, Noko, I need you to do one thing for me. Can you please level out the field by the goal? Okay, that shit is sloped. That shit is sloped, right? Because you can tell, like, there's the foul line, and then there's like a little dip as it goes towards the goal. Fix that, please.
Huh.
What?
I never caught on to that.
Because we were standing right there in the corner, and you could see, like, you see the foul line, and because the corner basically goes to the foul line, but you could see the little dip there. It's like, no, fix that.
Ooh.
Shit was sloped. I don't know if it was the
Ooh.
same on the other end, but I doubt it, just because it wasn't on the foul line. But it wasn't a large enough like slant to like cause any issues or problems with the play. It's just one of those where you kind of see it and you're like, that shit's not even.
Okay. Well, then
Is that what
let's-
allowed Noko to score all 3 goals in the second half?
Yeah, that's a problem though. It's like,
Oh,
damn,
they
I can't
used
even
to
use that
it?
excuse. It's like, damn, I can't even use that excuse to feel the slope. It's just like, nope.
That's just their favorite little area.
Maybe that's why Bird thought it was inside the box and went charging after it. Maybe the orientation threw him off.
I love the justification. Either way, so what does Ford need for the off season to make improvements to their squad and to their style of play?
Another competent goal scorer, to either 2 goal scorers if Cheney doesn't come back, or if Cheney comes back, they need to get another one, because
Let's go ahead and say that Cheney's not coming back.
then you need 2 high quality 9s to provide scoring options.
Where are you going to get him?
I don't know. Fuck it. That's not my problem.
Greenville?
That's not my job.
Green.
I heard a Greenville in there. Who are you taking
Did you
from
start poaching
Greenville?
from Greenville?
Yeah, call Labovitz up.
Yeah, Labovitz.
Oh, are we doing the Chattanooga thing in Greenville?
Yeah, just go after their corpse. Just
Yeah.
pick it dry.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Like, maybe Garrett McLaughlin wants to be, the guy. Like, maybe he'll be interested. I
Ooh,
don't
now he's
know.
trying to steal your guys.
He's good. We're good. He's happy where he's at. Leave him alone. Okay. You
Look, maybe
Go away,
Bentley,
Seth.
maybe
I-
Bentley just needs a change of scenery. I don't know. Like, come to the winning side of the Henny Derby. Worked out for the campaign.
wow.
What?
I'm just glad that Kyle gets to be in the hot seat about his team getting picked apart, because I know it's gonna be really bad in like 3 weeks when Omaha is just like a skeleton crew.
Yeah. I don't know who's coming back, but all I'm saying is, if you need 9s, there's something in the league. Otherwise, just find.
Okay, so then leave NCFC out of this, because we will not be in the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they realize, oh, this is my level. Let me stay in this level.
Well, maybe that's Ebony's revenge, though. Maybe Ebony goes and they take everybody good from League One and just make the League One All-Star team. Bring up
Yeah.
the seat.
Yeah. There we go. I'm
I
down
don't
for
know.
that.
Maybe someone
You
in
know-
Chattanooga. Maybe someone in Chattanooga wants to head out.
Cheney
greener
and-
pastures.
Cheney and Noah Meza meet at the first day of practice and say, I never imagined I'd be fighting alongside a Mingo.
I'm happy with that. I will
Had to
take
sink
that
that
every
in for
day.
Brian.
I don't know. I'm sure they'll have a plan, and hopefully the gambles that they take on whoever the 9s are works out. I mean, like, they took one with Cheney and it worked. Hopefully he can come back, and if not, you get another. They just need 9s. I think that's the biggest issue, because when healthy, the defense was pretty good. It just had moments of roughness. The midfield was pretty good when healthy and fully fit. It's just the squad was also too thin. I think adding more depth is the other thing Fort Madison has to do.
I think more
Look at
consistent
Luke in the
players.
comments.
I think it also worked in his Glazers' favor, because he was able to bring in a locker room that he wanted, and you
Yeah.
could see that effect on the field. And so as long as he continues to bring in the culture and the locker room that he wants, you're going to continue seeing that success.
And I guess on that note, I mean, just thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you keep him or not keep him? I think you got to keep him.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you keep them.
You definitely have to keep him.
Because the last thing you need is another coach and probably another complete overhaul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, unless like, Jay Mims or Harks is coming up there, it's kind of like, let's just ride this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he deserves a season to fully, and if he can keep most of the roster, I think at least see what they can do.
It's gonna
if you-
hurt losing Cheney, but God damn you, Yogi. How are you still derailing a podcast and you're not even on the podcast?
God damn it.
God. for all the audio
Anyway,
people,
Noko looks
Steve
really
was-
good.
Yeah.
That's going to be a barn burner with NCFC, but no, Noko, talented team, like full props to them. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to stop a team like that.
Let's start with the game that's first, which is going to be Omaha hosting Charlotte at 5:30 Eastern.
Oh, actually, before we do that, can we talk about the result of the league's poll on who's going to advance?
Yeah, sure.
So
I didn't even fully see it. I saw
The num-
Omaha had the highest and then Noko had the lowest.
which is crazy because when they did the individual games, both Omaha and Noko had 66% of the votes to advance. Which is just got to be like everybody who voted for Omaha thinks it's going to be Omaha and Noko, and then Noko loses in the final. Because it like almost perfectly lines up, because for winning it all, they have Omaha at 42%, NCFC at 22%, Charlotte at 20%, and Noko at 16%, which is crazy because I think Noko has the second best chance after Omaha. But then when I saw like the individual game breakdowns, I thought that was crazy because it's like everyone has them going to the final, but then losing. Which Eamon saw that, and I'm sure that's like up in the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that man loves making bulletin board material.
Yes. They're going to have 16% t-shirts made
Oh yeah,
to wear in for warm-ups.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm surprised Charlotte didn't have the lowest. Just because not only are they going to have to go into the road and play Omaha, but if they win that, then you're playing either Noko or NCFC, and it's like, oof. So I am surprised Charlotte was not last.
Well, no one likes that we're leaving the league like we are, so of course we're going to be.
Okay, but still.
So either way, Omaha hosts Charlotte 5:30 Eastern. Let's go through the games from this year. It was a 0-0 draw in Charlotte, and then Charlotte beat Omaha 3-0. But then Omaha beat Charlotte 4-1 to end the season. To be fair, those first two results were during Omaha's slump, and then literally they went on a 15 unbeaten run. Is it 16 now?
I lost
Ooh.
count.
Yeah, I lost
Yeah.
count too.
I think since July 22nd.
Right. So
A lot of games.
Yeah, a lot.
take that into consideration. With that being said, what do we think this game is going to be like?
Cold.
Cold.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Brian's been counting the ticket sales, and it's not a very high number.
It's not great.
No.
It is not great.
Hey, neither here.
But it's supposed to be like the first frost of the year and stuff. So hopefully, people just suck it up and go. But it's gonna be cold, which I don't know if that really plays in our favor because it's the first cold day of the year. But it's gonna be cold. The Charlotte fans are gonna be out in full force in their tinfoil hats.
All four of them.
Yeah, they're gonna be like out there with their Super 8s to get their grainy footage. I'm sure they're gonna like have a laser tape measure and like try to tell the ref like, hey, the field 73.5 feet. It's not 75. This isn't regulation. They have to forfeit, or like whatever crazy conspiracy things they do. But then I think I don't know. I don't personally think Charlotte has much of a chance, and a lot of that's recency bias. But I think we kind of give them the business. We've looked really, really good as of late. I don't think they can stop us from scoring. They do not like playing defense, and we do, and we can score. So it's kind of like that's not exactly the best strategy against a team that's done a lot better of not giving away dumb goals.
Well, I
And
think that's the thing is Charlotte's midfield is going to have to be on its A game to not let Omaha get through them. Just because that's going to ask a lot out of Corey Bennett hey, we need it. And I could see Charlotte getting an early, quick, direct goal. But to ask them to try and defend well for 90 minutes, potentially 120, that's just a very big ask out of them. I think their midfield can do the job. I just don't know how like the midfield really needs to be at its best, which it can, but I just don't know if the rest of the squad is going to be at that level that is needed.
It's definitely not going to come from the defense.
Right.
No. In Charlotte's defense, when they lost 4-1 in Omaha, they were without Clay Dimmick because of his season-ending injury. Gabriel Oberton was on the bench, and wasn't it Trezor Mbuyu was also on the bench, or was it Corey Bennett?
One of those I would have to double.
I think it was
Corey
Corey Bennett. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we looked it up yesterday. It was Corey Bennett.
So, I mean, those are three, not only from leadership perspective, but performance, perspectives. That's three players that you're missing that are key components to their success. So having those players start on Saturday is going to be huge for Charlotte. Obviously not Dimmick.
Yeah. Well, Everton's going to be mad because he's going to miss the senior discount at Cracker Barrel.
That's a Sunday morning
True.
thing.
He's the same
still-
age as Steven Dos Santos.
Yeah, but those
It's not
midfield legs,
that old.
that's an added tax. Those midfield legs, that's a midfield tax that you're adding on.
I would
Yeah.
be terrified of Charlotte scoring, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
they didn't get tested. Their defense didn't get tested last game. Like I'm fairly certain that Omaha can stop them at least twice in their attack.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to come down to like one goal, but I don't know. I don't know if Charlotte can fully anticipate all the things that Omaha can do. Like
I feel
They
like this
saw it
game could
once,
be the
but-
opposite of the Charlotte Greenville game, where Charlotte gets the early goal and then Omaha just applies the pressure the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of vibe, there's only 2 games, and then it's to choose between vibes and chaos, and I know what I have this game as, and I don't know if
I think it's chaos.
I fully believe it's going to be a chaotic game. It's going to be hilarious because it's either going to be 4-3 or we're going to PKs. Like
Wow. Okay. I felt like Werner's field dimensions gives a huge advantage to Union Omaha because it takes away so much space from Charlotte. So I felt like that gives Omaha's defense so much more to work with and so much less for Charlotte's offense to work with. I think,
But
Brian, you had 4-2
Mm-hmm.
and I had 3-1 for a prediction for this one.
Well,
Yep.
the thing is, like, are they not just gonna like say fuck it and just start pinging balls over the top for them to just start running onto? They're fast. It's not like they're not, but
They are.
Go ahead,
I
Brian.
just feel the field dimensions on it are just, it's not going to be conducive for them to be able to do it, in my opinion. I mean, yes, they're really fast, but on a pitch the size of Warner's, you really have to be more technical and build up a little bit better through the midfield, which I don't feel like they're going to be able to do against Omaha's midfield. I feel like Omaha's midfield has the big advantage in this matchup.
And Ebony, if you want to play over the top, you have to take into consideration that it might be a wet day in Omaha on Saturday as well. So if you're playing over the top,
Oh,
that ball's going
yeah.
to skip when it
Or
comes down.
windy. I don't know if
It
it's going to be
is-
windy, but I feel like
It is
Probably.
always windy at Warner.
yeah. So
There's
you're adding to
nothing
that
to-
aspect.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop the wind out there in the middle of East Jesus nowhere.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep it on the ground.
yeah, no, they're not.
That's going to be a big challenge for for that midfield to kind of pass through it, because I think trying to pass it on the ground through Omaha's defense is going to be really difficult to do.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Omaha doesn't let a whole lot of through balls in behind them, so it's going to be hard to run past somebody and get on
Gobel
it.
and his 6'4" go gadget legs right there, just anchor anything like
Yeah.
look like Fabinho in his prime.
It'll be like that.
Goddamn.
I'm just team tire each other out. Thank you.
120 minutes and whatever else happens, and some red cards for Ebony.
Yeah, that's
Tire South
Yeah,
Noko.
basically that's all. Wow, nope. Chip is cut off. Well, it depends on how long that game goes. We could know who is hosting by the time that my game kicks off, which is NCFC hosting NOCO at 7:30 Eastern here in North Carolina, to go through all of the games for versus us. NCFC won 2-0 in North Carolina. Then NOCO won 2-1 in North Carolina. And then NCFC won 2-0 when we went up to Colorado. Obviously, I was not there for that first game. I was there for the second game, though.
I was like, why were you there for the first game? And then I saw the date. I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, no, I was not there. Yeah, so these two teams tend to match up pretty well. They're very chippy. It came to a head at the last NCFC home game versus Colorado. So let's hear it. What are we thinking about both teams?
It kind of feels like an NBA Jam kind of game where you have the 2v2, and NCFC is going to have Rafa and Alex, and then NOCO is just going to have Arthur Rogers and Amon, and it's just going to be NBA Jam-esque.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Honestly, yeah, I like it. I mean, we've had a lot of scoring. We've had a lot of scoring from a lot of different players. I actually did the math, and it was a lot. I mean, obviously, Oleg's second in scoring in the league, first for us. But we spread the love around. Rafa got in there a little bit. We had like 9 different goal scorers. Luis Perez, Mikey, Pop snuck one in there. Fernandez snuck one in there. Obviously, Garrett, Cervania. We just had a lot of scoring everywhere on the pitch. And then, back line with Blanco and Fernandez holding it down. It was so great when Navarro was healthy. It hurt to lose him, but they still held strong in the middle. Club legend Max is coming back from injury, so he's slotting in wherever he can on the front line, back line, wherever we can put him in. I don't know. But it's something about NOCO that just makes these guys just anxious. It feels like at points.
It's the sweater. It's the sweaters.
The fucking sweater. I don't know how is he wearing that sweater. I don't know how he wore it in July. I don't know how he wore it in fucking August. It was like 80 degrees outside, and you're in this thick ass cashmere sweater.
Yeah,
I don't get it, but still, I don't.
Chip, did he ever respond to you when you asked for recommendations on Twitter?
He said Aaron Woolmills is where he's suggested before, which is actually where I have some sweaters from already. But he said he'd help me pick out a new sweater for my wife to give me for Christmas after NOCO beat Union Omaha in the finals.
Oh, man.
Wow. So that's your real reason for wanting NOCO in the final.
You know what? No matter what, I win, because if Omaha gets a star, that's awesome. If not, best West Coast League is going to help me pick out
I got to say, there's the pettiness.
That's wild. Let's hear from you guys. What are we feeling from these two teams all season, and what are we thinking about how this game goes?
I think it's blunt force versus surgical precision. Northern Colorado is going to come at you very hard, very fast. They have a very free style, form of play, whereas North Carolina has a very smooth, methodical approach to their buildup on offense. Totally different approaches to the game, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I think NCFC is goal scoring is more consistent through a group of guys, whereas NOCO's is obviously Trevor Amon is your biggest thing. So NCFC is going to have to force somebody else to beat them. I think that's the biggest key to the match is if you can shut down Trevor, you can shut down the vast majority of Northern Colorado's goals. That doesn't mean there's not guys that can't score on that team, but you give yourself a better chance if you can shut him down.
And so since we considered the
I'm gonna say this is where someone like Marky Hernandez or
Brendan Rodon. Bruno Rendon. Sorry, I said Brendan.
Bruno. Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
So this is, I guess we're considering this the vibes game.
No, I was gonna say like him, Marky Hernandez, or Powder.
Outer, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're both very good teams. Like that's the crazy thing about this year's the 3 teams at the top are probably the best teams at the top we've ever had in this league.
Yeah,
best top 3, not necessarily the best teams in the league history, but no, I mean it's going to be a really good game.
So Kyle, you set the over under. Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
I figured 8.5 because last week we had like 7. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay, wait.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
It's 7.
I was gonna say I set the over under at and 8.5 is fine now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What game do you have going that high?
NCFC NoCo.
I mean, I guess the other thing too is we count PKs as actual goals.
Nah.
Mm.
I guess that's
Mm-mm. No. Absolutely not.
okay. Yeah, I gotta do under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under.
I feel like whenever we are like, man, there's gonna be a lot of goals, they just turn into rock fights, and they're both gonna end like 1-1, and then 1-0 added extra time.
Trying to remember what my score prediction for this game was when me and Rich talked about it yesterday.
I had 2-1 North Carolina in this one.
I think I had 2-1 or 3-1.
So that would put me right at 8 goals
NoCo
total. Or no. That would put me
I
at
got
7 goals. So
I got the over on this one. Just barely over, but over.
I am still going under. I think I could see a 2-1 in the NoCo North Carolina game, and I feel like Omaha Charlotte's going to be like a 3-1.
I'm going to take the under just because I don't think we have like a high scoring NCFC game. I think it's all going to come from that Omaha match.
It'll be
so
one
too.
sided.
Yeah.
It's fair.
And look at that.
So
we kept this.
who do we have
lower.
as the who do we well I was gonna say who do we have as the teams getting to the finals? So we can each individually make our prediction on what the finals are gonna be.
I have Omaha, North Carolina.
See, I don't want to travel to Omaha. Only because it's so hard to get to Omaha.
Raleigh to Charlotte, Charlotte to Omaha, like 20 flights a day between Charlotte and Omaha.
Oh, come on. I have to work on Friday, so that means I got to catch that super early flight.
What's on Sunday? Finals on Sunday.
Finals? Oh, is it Sunday?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
finals on Sunday.
I've been
Sunday,
thinking
7:30 Central
Saturday.
Time on ESPN2. The Dukes.
So now you can make that trip without any hesitation.
Oh. See, I still want to host. So I love you guys dearly, but I want to host.
I get that. That's fair. I think I have Omaha.
Sir.
Get him out of here.
That's a lot of C's for thick. I'm just saying.
What you're supposed to use Q's.
No, is you got to just keep adding C's to thick until you get to the appropriate amount of thickness.
I'll do.
No, I fully expect to be traveling to Omaha, so it's whatever.
I'll do Omaha, North Carolina, just because I feel like North Carolina having the home edge will be just enough.
I've got Omaha and Northern Colorado.
I also have Omaha and NoCo.
Wow.
It's going to be so hard to stop Trevor. That's the biggest thing, and I don't think NCFC is going to be able to do it.
Eamon just
Oh, actually, that's why I need North Carolina. I need Yogi to be wrong. I need Yogi to suffer. That's actually why I did it.
What is this? What is this prediction? I don't understand what's happening. Make sense.
That is actually the true reason why I'm picking North Carolina. I just don't need Yogi to be right. Even though he's already wrong on Madison missing the playoffs, I don't need him to continue his Armageddon, whatever nonsense.
I don't know. Yogi somehow has still derailed a podcast while not being on the podcast. And you know what? That sounds like the perfect end. But before we hop off, I want to thank Rich and Brian for joining us today. It's always good to have you guys on. For the final, we are hoping to have a whole plethora of people here with us watching together. I hope you guys can stick around and join us for that. We'll be having more information on that soon. Any final words? Please promote yourselves.
You can find us on Twitter at League One on the Rocks Pod. Yeah, go listen to our episodes. I don't know. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff on social media tomorrow, so yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I'm loving all the bots in the show, by the way. It's fucking hilarious. You can't see them.
I see it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Either way, thank y'all for joining us tonight. You've all been amazing. We wouldn't do this without you. So yeah, peace.